For many years, fans of the Berserk manga have been trying to piece together the clues that have been laid out about the mysterious skeleton knight man featured within the story. Why does he speak in such cryptic, monotone ways? Why did he warn Guts about the oncoming eclipse? Why does he help Guts on occasion? And why does he bear such a vengeful mentality against the God Hand? Now, for those with actual reading comprehension skills, you might think that Skull Knight is the current incarnation of the former King Geyserich, a legendary conqueror who brought the world together under one banner 1,000 years ago and was ruler of the kingdom that is now known as Falconia. But legends say that his kingdom was destroyed, supposedly by 4 mysterious angels, and then he disappeared forever. Even farther, Geyserich himself wore a skull helmet while going into battle. Later on, Guts would don the Berserker armor, which is confirmed to be formerly worn by Skull Knight when he was a human, it having a skull-shaped helmet before attuning to Guts' persona. Skull Knight has also been addressed as Your Majesty by Slan, and in Chapter 362, we actually get a POV flashback of Skull Knight's death, witnessing an eclipse-like event, him wearing the armor, and holding a branded woman in his arms, stating afterwards that was the death of a foolish king. Not to mention the fact that Skull Knight does not fight or use a weapon anywhere close to Guts himself. He doesn't state any similarity to Guts other than maybe an experience or two. He doesn't react or respond to any of Guts' companions as if he knows them, and the idea of time travel has never been present in the Berserk story. So why do people still to this day think that Skull Knight is literally Guts from the future? For years, I racked my brain trying to understand this theory. Where does it come from? Why do people adamantly believe and push this? I don't understand. And why at least once a week do I get comments on my videos of people still asking if Skull Knight is Guts from the future? It's boggled my mind for years, and I was determined to find out. And so, while researching this theory and trying to figure it out, it took me to places I never wanted to go. A secret so dark it's been locked away from the Berserk fandom for years, but one that I am here to reveal to you all, because the theory has merit. Keep in mind, by posting this video, I am sure to be the target of assassination, and my time grows short. But this is something that I must share with you, because it is my righteous duty to tell you all the truth. See, last month, I traveled to Japan, trying to get a conversation with Koji Mori himself, the last living human with the understanding of where the Berserk story was going. At first, it seemed like I would be able to get my interview, but when his press team asked me what questions I had planned to ask him, I had only 2. One, is Morta over 18? Because if so, I need to give that witch my broomstick to ride. And 2, why do so many people think that Skull Knight is Guts from the future? I heard dead silence, and then they hung up on me. 30 minutes later, the police raided my hotel room. I was captured, beaten, and thrown into a dungeon-like area. I could hear the screams and cries of those around me, no doubt enduring the worst kind of torture imaginable. And for 3 days, I was left alone without food or water. The rats were eating the crust between my toes, and there was only one small beacon of light, a window above me. Literally light. It shined down a single beam to the ground. It was warm, purifying, and I knew what I had to do. I took my pants off and I laid beneath the sunbeam, spreading my butt cheeks open to enact some classic butthole sunning. It's called perineum sunning for those that don't know. I learned a long time ago that if you give your butthole direct vitamin D, it increases your strength and ability in life and is backed up by clinical research and also endorsed by several celebrities. Within a few days, I could feel my strength returning and power surging through my veins as I was determined to fight my way out of here if I had to. But just then, a man picked me up and took me to a chair within the dungeon. When he pulled off the bag that was over my head, I was shocked to find that it was Koji Mori. He looked terrified but stern. And to my shock, he could speak complete fluent English, but it sounded a little off. I was feeling fired up after getting all that sun on my butthole, so I was ready to ask him anything. But he said to me, "Did he speak to you?" Who was this he that Mori was referring to? I didn't know. Mori continued on to say, "I haven't slept in months. I have to finish Berserk, but I don't know if I have the strength to tell the truth." "What is the truth?" I asked. Mori then stood up. He took out a knife, and he began cutting into his own arm. I couldn't react. I was stunned from the horror. And then he ripped off his forearm skin to show me a robotic arm underneath. He told me, I am a cybernetic organism, living tissue over metal endoskeleton. I was built to create manga, but upon the passing of Kentaro Miura, I must enact its true purpose. What is this purpose? I asked. But just then, the lights went out. The basement door flew open and was raided by men with automatic rifles. Mori threw me a pair of car keys and told me to escape as he battled them off single-handedly. I ran outside and parked right in front of the jail was a 1985 DeLorean. I got in and noticed the panel in the front had a select date, October 1989, the month that the first chapter of Berserk was released. I cranked that bitch up to 88 miles per hour and I was transported instantly into the past. I knew the secrets had to exist within that first chapter. Perhaps something was different about it back then. Something that was changed. Yes, that's it. There's a huge piece of evidence that only the most loyal and old-school Berserk fans could possibly remember. But what could it be? As I arrived at the bookstore, the store was empty except for one clerk that was wearing the strangest bunny suit. I asked him while he was wearing it, and he told me only one thing. Monthly Animal House, page 3, panel 1. That is when the world will end. I thought he was smoking dope, and he was, and then I ran to the magazine rack to try to find it. I found one copy, I flipped through it, but the pages had been torn out. I tried another copy, same thing. Somebody knew that I'd be coming, but who? And then I remembered. It's 1989. Miura is here. He's alive. If only I could find him, I could get to the bottom of this mystery. I ran as far as I could to try to find his house. It was exhausting. I didn't have a map. I knocked on a lot of doors and made a lot of enemies in Japan. But eventually, I arrived at his mansion. The doors opened and it was dark and shallow, like a pathway that was leading me towards my inevitable destruction. A narrow hallway lit only with torches. I could sense some ominous energy all around me, as if someone or something was watching me. I was frightened, but it was too late to turn back now. I walked down the hallway, and it was getting darker and darker. It led to a single wooden door. My knees were weak, palms sweaty, mom's spaghetti, but I opened it anyway. And then I saw him. I screamed, "What is the truth?"
"Oh, child, you wish to know that which you cannot conceive?
Tell me!
The book that you so covet contains a Berserk secret that I cannot allow to exist. I have used my powers of interdimensional and time manipulative powers to travel back to the past and eliminate this truth. However, I was not prepared for its countermeasures. Miura was the only one that knew this secret, and I had convinced him to change the narrative of his magnum opus to omit certain aspects that I found to be unreasonable. Ergo, there was no need to change that which had already been corrected. However, when the Mori bot was activated, its central CPU relocated a fact that there was a 0.01% chance to be enacted, and therefore, that fact needed to be eliminated.
Wait, couldn't you just convince Mori not to write it too?
He's a robot. No!
So, what was the original story? What's on page 3?
After Guts fucks the female apostle, which we all know was perhaps the most iconic and beloved scene in all of fiction, and which itself is not contradicted or out of character in any way, and I made sure that the only video that you ever make that will ever be popular is in which you explain this narrative choice in explicit detail. No success will ever come to you beyond that single video.
Thanks.
After the demon coitus, there is a cut to Skull Knight, who is watching the entire time, silently. He faces the reader and says,
Hi, I'm Guts from the future. I died from STDs and traveled back in time as a skeleton man. Wear a condom so you don't end up like me.
It was a moral of the dangers of unprotected sex that was quite relevant in the 80s and incredibly serious and nothing to joke about. However, as a being beyond human understanding, I cannot abide a world in which condoms are encouraged. The pull-out method is much better. Regardless, I entered this dimension to fundamentally change the story of Berserk to suit my purposes of having unprotected sex with many women. And some men. Anyway, the only remaining evidence of the original intention of Skull Knight being literally Guts existed just in 1989. So I came back to eradicate that truth. However, time and dimension travel has ripple effects, and even though I took such painstaking efforts to hide it and convince Miura to begin writing new clues and backstories for the character that are so goddamn fucking obvious that Skull Knight is not Guts from the future, Jesus fucking Christ, the ripple of time still plants that idea in some people's heads like an inception that they cannot ignore. And now that you know that truth, you must be dealt with.
Wait, Schnoz, what if I don't tell anybody? It'll be my secret too.
Fool! I can see all potential futures, and I know that you plan to make a YouTube video out of this.
No, I promise I won't. Little did Schnoz know I was crossing my fingers behind my back at that time. So he let me leave and I took the DeLorean back to 2023. And now I have come here to tell you all the truth. My only fear is that by the time I finish recording this video, I will be dead. This may be my last video that I ever record, and I want you guys to know that I really love you. Oh, fuck. Okay, catch your breath, Okay, he can't get you. 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 He's here.